Now let us continue the NEET 2020 paper physics. 106th question. Two cylinders A and B of equal capacity are connected to each other via a stopcock. A contains an ideal gas at standard temperature and pressure. B is completely evacuated. The entire system is thermally insulated. The stopcock is suddenly opened. The process is isochoric, isobaric, isothermal or adiabatic. Now you can see that the temperature is now going to be kept a constant, he says. Right? So the temperature is going to remain a constant. And when the entire system is going to be completely insulated and a free expansion of gas takes place, then you can see that obviously the temperature is now going to be a constant at this situation. So it will be an adiabatic change. So fourth option is the correct. 107th question. For which of the following Bohr atom is not valid? Bohr model of atom is not valid for multi-electron species. So it is valid only for single electronic system. Therefore, it will not be valid for a single ionized neon atom because it has got more electrons. So option 2 is the correct answer. Singly ionized neon atom. So Bohr atom model is not valid for this. Coming to the 108th question. Two bodies of mass 4 kg and 6 kg are tied to the ends of a massless string. The string passes over a pulley which is frictionless. The acceleration of the system in terms of acceleration due to gravity is what? So 4 kg and 6 kg mass is given. Now let us solve this. Forces of the force balancing for the 4 kg block is, so it can be written as T minus 4g, where g stands for acceleration due to gravity, is equal to 4 times A. Mass into, that is equal to ma. Okay, force is equal to ma. So force T minus 4g is equal to 4a. Or from this you can infer that T is equal to 4a plus 4g. Let us have this as first equation. Force balancing for the 6 kg block, again that will be equal to, here it is now going to be heavier as not, so it will become 6g minus T is equal to 6a. So from this we can get T to be equal to 6g minus 6a. So this is now going to be the second equation. Now let us solve this. The first two equations. Now you can equate both. So equating 1 and 2, because they are now representing, both are representing only the tension. So you can write it as 4a plus 4g is equal to 6g minus 6a. Now bring all the g's to one side and all the a's to one side. So that will give you 4a plus 6a is equal to 6g minus 4g, or 10a is equal to 2g, or from this we get a is equal to 2g by 10, or which is equal to g by 5, 1/5 of g or g by 5. So we can see that option 1 is the correct answer. Next question. In a certain region of space with volume 0.2 meter cubed, the electric potential is found to be 5 volts throughout. The magnitude of electric field in this region is, let us solve this. Now we know E is equal to minus of dV by dr. Now it is, from the question we can see that V is constant throughout. Okay, so that means if it is going to be a constant, then dV by dr is equal to 0, right? So therefore E is equal to 0 in this region. So option 3 is correct. Now let us solve the 110th question. When a uranium isotope U-23592 is bombarded with a neutron, it generates krypton 89, 36, 3 neutrons, and which is the correct option? Let's see. Now, uranium 235, 92 plus neutron gives, let us say, we don't know the element, let us keep it as X, P, Q plus krypton 39, 36 plus 3 neutrons, he says, plus 3 N 0 1. Sorry, 1 0. 1 0. If it is 0 1, then it will become a beta particle. So plus energy, of course, plus energy. So we have to calculate what is this element XPQ. Now you know some of the atomic numbers on the left hand side is now going to be 89. Sorry, this is 89, children. I'm sorry. I put it as 39. It is 89. Yeah. You can see in the question it is 89, right? So krypton 89. So now we can see that the sum of the atomic numbers on the left hand side is now going to be 89 plus 0, which is equal to 89 plus 3, which is equal to 92. Alright. So we are now going to calculate, we calculated the sum of the atomic numbers on the right hand side, left hand side. Now on the right hand side, sorry, this is now going to be 89 plus P, children. 89 plus P plus 3 neutrons, right? So that will be equal to 89 plus 3, which is equal to 92. So same way, now if you calculate for RHS, that is the right hand side, the atomic numbers on the right hand side will be equal to, now what is left? 0, 3 into 0 is 0, so 36, so we will take it as Q plus 36. So let us take it as Q plus 36 is 92. Q plus 36 is equal to 92. Here I should, wait children, we should have taken it as, so when we take the right hand side, you can see that 89 plus 3 is equal to, that is 3 into 1 is, so let us actually not write this. So 89 plus 3 is equal to 92 plus Q, right? So Q plus 36 is equal to 92. Here it is going to be on the right hand side, on the left hand side, it is now going to be 92 plus 0, right? 92 plus 0. This is for LHS and this is for RHS, okay? RHS, it is now going to be 89 plus 3 is equal to, because 3 into 1, 3 neutrons. So 89 plus 3, that is 92. So now we can equate plus Q, of course, plus Q. So Q plus, I should have written that as Q plus 89 plus 3 is equal to 92. We can equate both. LHS is equal to RHS. So Q plus 36 is equal to 92, or Q is equal to 92 minus 36, which gives you 56. Same way, now let us calculate for the mass number. It is now going to be 235 on the left hand side plus 1. So 235, so LHS for mass number, it is now going to be 235 plus 1 is equal to, so that will give you 236. And on the right hand side, it is now going to be P plus 89 plus 3 into 1. So that will give you 92. P plus 92. So 92 plus P. So therefore, same way, let us equate both. So P plus 92 is equal to, P plus 92 is equal to 236, or P is equal to 236 minus 92, which gives you 144. So from the options we can see 144, 56. Barium is the correct answer. So option 3 is the correct answer. Next, coming to the 111th question. The energy equivalent of 0.5 grams of a substance is 1.5 into 10 to the power of 13 joules, 0.5 into 10 to the power of 13 joules, 4.5 into 10 to the power of 16 joules, 4.5 into 10 to the power of 13 joules. Let us quickly solve it. Now you know E is equal to mc squared. E is equal to mc squared, where m stands for mass and c stands for the velocity of light. Given m is equal to 0.5 grams, and now converted to kilograms, that will give you 0.5 into 10 to the power of minus 3 kilograms. And what is C? C we know is nothing but 3 into 10 to the power of 8. Now simply multiply it. So that gives you E is equal to 0.5 into 10 to the power of minus 3 into 3 into 10 to the power of 8 the whole square. So that gives you 0.5 into 3 3s are 9 into 10 to the power of minus 3 into 10 to the power of 16. 8 2s are 16. So when we simplify this, what do you get? You get it as 9 5s are 45. So 4.5 into 10 to the power of, so it will become 4.5 into 10 to the power of 13 joules. So option 4 is correct. 4.5 into 10 to the power of 13 joules is 4. Option 4. Option 4 is the correct answer. The mean free path of a gas with molecular diameter d and number density n can be expressed as. Now, mean free path is directly proportional to temperature and inversely proportional to pressure and the molecular diameter. So, therefore, mean free path can be written as kT by, so you can write it as mean free path as kT by root over 2n pi d squared or dm squared or d squared. So in this case, you can see that k and d are going to be constant, so it can be proportional to so 1 by root of 2n pi, let me put it as dm, so it will be proportional to, the d stands for the distance. Okay, so we can see that 1 by root over n pi d squared, n pi d squared. So you can see that option 4 is the correct answer. Coming to the 113th question. A wire of length L, cross-section area of cross-section A is hanging from a fixed support. The length of the wire changes to L1 when the mass M is suspended from its free end. Expression for Young's modulus is. Now you know, let us take the initial length to be L1. Okay, let the initial length be L1. Initial length be L0 and the new length be L1. Okay, so y will be equal to Young's modulus y is given by f L0 divided by A into delta L. L0 is the initial length and delta L is the change in the length. Now y is equal to, now delta L stands for the increase in length. So therefore y can be written as mg, force, what is force here? Mg L. So he says where L1 is the length of the wire changes to L1. So L is the initial. So we will write as L. Oh, no, I should have written it as L only. Okay. L is the initial length and L1 is the new length divided by A into L1 minus L. So that should be the correct option. Now we can see that option 2 is correct. See, mgl by A into L1 minus L. So option 2 is the correct answer. Next, coming to 114. A spherical conductor of radius 10 centimeters has a charge of 3.2 in 10 to the power of minus 7 coulombs distributed uniformly. What is the magnitude of the electric field at a point 15 centimeters from the center? Now, we can calculate this. Now, the Q is given as 3.2 in 10 to the power of minus 7. 3.2 in 10 to the power of minus 7 coulombs. Now the point is outside the sphere and R is given as 15 centimeters. Okay. Now the point is going to be outside the sphere. The electric field can be obtained by considering the point charge of same magnitude at the distance of 15 centimeters from the sphere as a whole charge, which is now going to be as if it is going to be concentrated at the center. Okay. So E will be equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 into Q by R square. So now let us substitute. So that is going to give you, the value of 1 by 4 by epsilon 0 is nothing but 9 into 10 to the power of 9 into Q is given as 3.2 into 10 to the power of minus 7 divided by R squared is 0. What did we take R as? R is nothing but 15, he says. So it is in centimeters, so we'll have to convert it to meters. So that will give you 15 into 10 to the power of minus 2 the whole square. So simplify this, that will give you 9 into 3.2 into 10 to the power of 9 minus 7 will give you 10 to the power of 2 divided by 15. 15s are 225 into 10 to the power of minus 4. So when it goes up, that becomes 10 to the power of 6. So 9 into 3.2 divided by 225. When we simplify this, we get it as 1.28 into 10 to the power of 5 Newton per coulomb. Let's see which option is correct. 1.28 10 to the power of 5. Option 4 is correct. Newton per coulomb. So option 4 is the correct answer. It's the direct application of the formula. Next, coming to 115th question. The energy required to break one bond in DNA is 10 to the power of minus 20 joules. This value in electron volt is nearly. So 1 electron volt is nothing but 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 joules. So energy required to break the bond is 10 to the power of minus 20 joules. It is given, that is equal to 1 by 1.602 into 10 to the power of minus 19 into 10 to the power of minus 20. So converting it to electron volts. So that gives you, so 1 electron volt is this much. Okay. So now we are now going to convert 10 to the power of minus 20 to electron volts. So that gives you 0.062 electron volts. So let's see which option is correct. We can see that 0.06. So option 1 is the correct answer. Next is 116th one. A body weighs 72 newtons on the surface of the earth. What is the gravitational force on it at a height equal to half the radius of the earth? This is very simple one. So given mg is equal to 72 newtons. Now we know gh is equal to, at a height, gravity, the acceleration due to gravity at a certain height is, let us take it as gh, that is given by g re, where re stands for the radius of the earth, squared by re plus h, the whole square. But it is given that h is equal to re by 2. Okay. So in the place of h, let us now substitute that. So we get gh is equal to gre squared divided by re plus re by 2 the whole square. Now simplify this, that gives you gre squared divided by, this gives you 3re by 2 the whole square, which is nothing but 9re squared. Let us take this 3, by, I mean it is by 4. So the 4 goes up, re squared gets cancelled. So you get it as 4 by 9 g. Let's see which option is correct. 4 by 9 g, or we can as well substitute. So g, but already it is given as 4 by 9 of g. Now let us substitute for f is equal to m into g. So we need to calculate the force. So f is equal to m gh, which is equal to 4 by 9 of g, which is mg, right? mg, that is given as 72, which is equal to 32 newtons. So you can see option 4 is the correct answer. For the logic circuit shown, the truth table is, which is the correct truth table. Now, we can see that the circuit consists of two NOT gates, A and B, connected to each other, and the input is now going to be one NOR gate. Okay, so let us now write the truth table for this combination. Let me put it as A, B, Y. So, first one you can see that it is a NOT gate. So, it will be 0, 0, 1. Second, if it is going to be A is 0, B is 1, then Y output will also be 0. If it is 1, A is 1, B is 0, then also you get output to be 0. And then finally, when you have input in both A and B, you can see the output is 1. So, which option is correct? Let's see. I can as well. Yeah, this is going to be the correct truth table. We can see that option 1, no, 2, no. Yeah, 3 is the correct answer. You can see that option 3 is the correct answer. Alright. Now coming to 118th question. In Young's double slit experiment, if the separation between coherent sources is halved and the distance of the screen from the coherent sources is doubled, then the fringe width becomes. This is a straightforward question. Let us solve this. Now you know beta is equal to lambda d by d, where lambda stands for wavelength, d stands for the distance between the two screens, and d is the distance between the slit difference. Okay, the distance between the slits, you can say. So now it is given that d dash is equal to, see, he says that the distance from the the separation between the coherent sources is halved. Okay, so that means d dash is now going to be d by 2. Alright, now and next he says distance is doubled. That means capital D is doubled. So d dash becomes 2d. Okay, now therefore beta dash will be equal to lambda times d dash by d dash. Now substitute for that lambda into 2d by d by 2, or that now becomes, we can take this 2 up. So lambda d by d into 4. So it becomes 4 times the initial thing. So it is now going to be 4 times. That is option 1 is the correct answer. Now let us look into the 119th question. A capillary tube of radius r is immersed in water and water rises in it to a height h. The mass of the water in the capillary is 5 grams. Another capillary tube of radius 2r is immersed in water. Mass of that water that will rise in the tube is how much? This is also based on the formula. Now, given that R1 is equal to, let us take R1 is equal to R, H1 is equal to H, and R2 is now going to be given as 2R, twice that. Okay. Now, you know, RH is a constant throughout. Yeah, it is a constant. Now, same way, because RH is a constant, you can infer that R1 H1 is equal to R2 H2. Alright. So, now substitute the values in the place of R1. Let me put it as 2R. Sorry, in the place of R2, let me put it as 2R into H2 is equal to, instead of R1 H1, let me put it as R and H, because R1 is R and H1 is H. So, therefore, H2 is equal to, from this we get H2 is equal to RH by 2R. So, R and R gets cancelled. You can see that height is now going to get R. Now, mass of water in the capillary is given by, you can write it as M is equal to, in the first capillary, M is given by rho into pi R squared H. Volume into density, where rho is the density. And M1 is given as, M1 is given as 5 grams. And therefore you can say 5 is equal to rho into pi R squared H. So what will be M2 now? M2 will be equal to, in the place of, we'll put it as rho into pi into, we can put it as R2 squared into H2. So in the we'll substitute for R2 and H2 now. We already got R2 to be 2R and H is H by 2. So 5 is equal to, or M2 is equal to rho into pi into R2 squared is now going to give you 2R the whole squared into H2 will be H by 2. Or you can as well cancel this out. So that will give you rho into pi into 1, 2 and 2 will get cancelled. So I'll take this 2 outside. Rho R squared H, which is nothing but, we already found this to be 5, right? So 2 into 5, which is equal to 10 grams. So the new mass will be 10 grams. So let's see which option is correct. Option 1 is the correct answer. Now coming to the 120th question. A cylinder contains hydrogen gas at pressure of 249 kilopascals and the temperature 27 degrees Celsius. So density is given as 8.3 joules per mole per Kelvin. This is also a straightforward question. Now we know PV is equal to nRT, or we can put it as PV is equal to M, where N stands for number of moles. So molecular mass by given mass that gives you, given mass by molecular mass into RT. All right. So now you know, because N is equal to M by M, given mass by molecular mass. That is what I have substituted here. Now what is PM? PM is equal to M by V. Let me bring this V here. M by V RT. Now we know rho is equal to, density is nothing but PM by RT. Alright. So now we can now, because so that will give you, now we know all the values P, M, R and T. We know all the values. We can quickly substitute that. So 249 into 10 to the power of 3 into, see children, I substituted M by V is nothing but rho. Okay, this is nothing but rho. So I am bringing P by M. So from this, P by M is by RT is equal to rho. That is what we have done. I have written here. And for that only we are now going to substitute. So 249 10 to the power of 3 into 2 into 10 to the power of minus 3 divided by R is 8.3 into 300. So that gives you rho is equal to, when you simplify, you get it to be 0.2 kilograms per meter cube. Let's see which option is correct. 0.2 kilograms also. Option 4 is the correct answer.